Welcome to Visibility with Purpose. My name is Sigrid Cast, a global online networking and visibility strategist.
And I'm Linnea Johnston, a LinkedIn and executive visibility specialist. Each week, the two of us explore what it actually takes for senior professionals to become visible, recognized, and trusted online.
Today, we're talking about the number one visibility mistake senior professionals make online.
As we share our insights today, we invite you to add your comments or questions and we'll respond. So Sigrid, let's get started.
Okay, the number one visibility mistake, Linnea, I think it is that the senior professionals often, first of all, are not even live represented or lively represented in a consistent way from my perspective. So what do you see? Let's get started on your side as well.
Well, I think you've probably hit the nail on the head with the first part of that, Sigrid, in that senior leaders are not actually often represented at all. A lot of people have in the past put together a LinkedIn profile for a job hunt, potentially, and they've just left it. They have added a bit of detail from their CV. Often LinkedIn profiles read like CVs, and they haven't updated it over the years. So when they come back to it after a period of time away from it, they don't recognize themselves. Their profile simply does not reflect who they are and who they've developed into. And so I think it's really an important thing for people to start looking at their LinkedIn profile from that perspective. The difference or the gap between where they were when they last updated it and where they are now, because so many people have forgotten to keep working on their profile over time.
And I think also when we're talking about the profile and putting it up there for a particular position at the time, people have used that the third person approach when they talk about themselves. And it just really removes that connection to the reader, doesn't it? I mean, you just don't do that these days, that you go about it in that way. But of course, we're not talking necessarily about that aspect here. We want to highlight the mistake. And I think one other area, it is in the profile, is that it is not really clear. They're sort of overcomplicating what they're putting out there onto the profile. Linnea, what's your angle on that?
Well, I think that it is very clear that with the arrival of AI, how we produce our profiles, Sigrid, has changed enormously. And instead of firstly thinking of it as a CV, and secondly, just listing our achievements or accomplishments in the way that we've done in the past, we need to be looking at our profile in a completely different light. And we need to, as you say, make it clear what we do. So every part of your profile needs to mirror or reflect the rest of it. So the AI is very clear on what it is that you do. It understands at a glance, and that other people as well as AI can understand what it is that you do too. Because you're right, people do overcomplicate things. And it's much better in this day and age with AI doing so much searching for us to be very clear, very uncomplicated in our profiles, and to structure them correctly as well. It's a big difference, I think, from the way that things used to be. And a lot of people haven't yet caught up with that. Well, that's certainly my view, I think. Sigrid, what about you?
Well, here I come in as that person who always says, but Linnea, I'm not writing for AI. You know, I want to write for people. So I hear that, and here's my response to that. You're not writing for AI. You are actually writing for the person you want to connect with. But AI is our vehicle that takes our content, our profile, to those people. So if AI doesn't have something clear on its guiding system where to take it, then it can't do that. So we're not writing for AI in that straightforward, plain sense that some people seem to attach to that meaning, but we are writing for the people. But AI needs to be able to get that into its input so it knows where, to whom to send the profile when people are searching for what you offer. And if you're offering so many different things, then who is it AI gonna send that request to? You know, that's, I think, is a big misunderstanding on behalf of the people when they're trying to be visible and they want to put everything out there because they're writing for people and people can read it all and they can understand it all. Well, I don't think they can, because Linnea, if I say I'm a plumber and I'm also an electrician and I'm also doing mentoring, what do you think I am then? Do you really think I'm a professional?
I would have absolutely no idea what you would be doing. And you're right, that kind of overcomplication of things can make it really difficult. And do you know, I think, Sigrid, that we make the mistake also of not putting ourselves in the shoes of the people that we want to reach, the humans we want to reach, and thinking about it from their point of view. What is it that they're looking for in us? Are they looking for a plumber? Are they looking for an electrician? Or are they looking for something else? And to be very clear about what that is. But we don't think about it from the person's point of view who is reading it. And I think we do need to do that. It was a very, it's a long-standing tenet of copywriting. Put yourselves in the shoes of the audience who's reading your copy. And if they can understand it and you're reaching out to them and speaking directly to them, then you'll be able to get your message across much more clearly, and people will know what it is that you do. But I think it's that mixed messaging that can make things very, very unclear on our profiles. And it's one thing that I work a lot with my clients, senior leaders, on trying to narrow down, because it's much better to be known for something that's quite a narrow niche and to go deep into that than it is to be known as an electrician and a plumber and a house cleaner, for example.
Well, the thing, of course, is, Linnea, we all really can picture what a plumber or an electrician does. But if we're talking of something that is much more professional, then that is much more difficult. So I totally agree with you. You've got to use the terminology that those people you want to reach are using, and you need to put it into the format that they would be searching for, so that they can, find you when AI understands who you are, what you do, and then it can serve that query, can serve you to the query that's being made. The other thing is with professionals often too, the long letters behind their name, the qualifications they have achieved, which is fantastic. But I was talking to some people just recently, and most of the time, this is the truth, most of the time, only people in their own industry know what those letters stand for. No one else does. So if I'm looking for somebody who is qualified, I would be looking for the qualifications in terms of the outcome that I'm seeking, not the letters, not the qualifications described that the person has. And I think that's definitely what you're pointing at here, that professionals do. And it's also part of an overcomplication in a way. Would you agree? Like putting all the
I would, because those letters or the qualifications that they represent or the memberships that they represent potentially can go into other sections of your profile. They don't have to go in that name section. And I think most people just ignore them anyway. I just simply don't even look at what they are in most cases. I'm just looking at a person's name. So if it's not going to add value to your name, then I don't think that there's any point in that. And let's be clear about this. So LinkedIn does allow that. They don't mind that at all. But if you were to put what it is that you do, like in my case, if I was to put Linnea Johnston, LinkedIn expert or specialist after my name, then that is against LinkedIn's terms of service. And most people don't realize that. So anytime that you see someone with a name that is their name plus their tagline, if you like, qualifying, then that's a no-no as far as LinkedIn's concerned. And whether or not that is going to be penalized by LinkedIn is a very good question, but they can come down on you like a ton of bricks if they think that you are contravening their terms of service. So I wouldn't be doing other things along those lines, but certainly you can have your qualifications in there. I just wouldn't, Sigrid. I just put them somewhere else instead.
I think the about section has a good place for that, and even there I would put it in a way that it is understandable for the reader, for the viewer of it, more so than appealing to others in your own industry to show who you are, what you do, where you belong to, and the qualifications and so on. So we've really touched on quite a few different areas. One I want to bring up very briefly, Linnea, is that there is a lot of mixed messaging happening as well, that professionals miss out on visibility because they are talking about one thing perhaps on their banner when we are talking LinkedIn, something else entirely in the headline, in the about section, again mentioning a lot of things. I find that at networking that somebody might talk about several things at the same time that they do. So that can be confusing. How do you see that, Linnea?
Well, I think that it is confusing, and if you are confusing yourself and the people that who are looking at your LinkedIn profile, you are certainly confusing the AI, which of course is the vehicle, as we have said, that gets you surfaced, gets you discovered. So it's important that it's very clear on what it is that you do. So the mixed messaging has got to be not only your profile, it's got to be in your invites, it's got to be in your newsletter, it's got to be in your events, it has to be right across your posts as well, and comments. So everything has to work together. I think that it's fair to say that LinkedIn is an ecosystem with a lot of moving parts, Sigrid, and we need to be really clear that now they are all working together. In the old days of LinkedIn, each of those worked separately, but now because of AI, they're all working together. So it's the sum of the parts that is going to give you the whole, that is going to make you visible and discoverable to other people and to AI.
Excellent. I love that, Linnea. So if I was to summarize that, would you agree with us or want to add something to it? The number one visibility mistake that senior professionals make online, and if we're talking specifically on LinkedIn, is that they are simply overcomplicating things by being too unclear in how they present themselves, whether that's on their profile, in their content, and so on. Is that something you would agree with?
I would, absolutely. So it's best to narrow your focus and to go deep into the areas that you really are an expert in, and really make sure that people understand that's what you do and that's how you can help.
Fantastic. So there you have it for today. If this episode gave you one thing to think about or something new or different to try, we would absolutely love to hear about it in the comments.
And if you found this useful, share it with a colleague who's navigating the same questions about visibility. That's exactly the kind of networking that builds recognition.
So next week, we'll be talking about why LinkedIn networking and live networking are not the same thing.
Use the links in the description below to connect with us on LinkedIn and to find out more about how we can help you become more visible online.
So until next time, be visible, be valuable, be remembered.